This is CyberPod EU, the European cybersecurity podcast powered by Sockwise.
And when we talk about security, if we want to secure something, we need to see it all. We are now opening the Pandora box by connecting these OT networks to the IT networks.
This episode was recorded on the occasion of a tech conference organized by NATO in Belgium called The Edge. This event provides an exhibition space for system vendors and providers, but more importantly, there are presentations and breakout sessions covering all aspects of information technology and opportunities working with this defense organization. This year, cybersecurity was a bit dominating. My guest around NATO Edge is Roxana Magdo, who is working for Keysight, and we met at the conference as well. So I was very curious about her opinion about NATO Edge, so I invited her and she kindly accepted this invitation, and she is with us today in CyberPod EU. So hello, Roxana, how are you today?
Hello, I'm very, very well, and I'm very happy to be part of your podcast. Thank you very much for your invitation.
It's very nice that you could make it finally, and I think we've not known each other for so long, but I know your company pretty well, Keysight. It's a pretty colorful company in terms of portfolio. I know pretty well the packet broker and the TAP business from Ixia perspectives, but you are doing much more than that. And could you tell about yourself, some words, some of the company, free as you would like?
Yes, thank you very much. So Keysight is a very big international company. We have more than 30,000 customers around the world. It is a spin-off of HP, and our division became part of Keysight through an acquisition. So the group I'm representing is coming from the company previous named Ixia. Mm-hmm. And in addition to packet brokers and TAPs, which are our portfolio for visibility, we have also a very strong portfolio in test and in security testing. We do have a lot of experience in this area, and I dare to say we have the best tools for security testing, and as well, I would again dare to say that we have the best tools for visibility in the industry. And yeah, I can talk a lot on that. So, but I think maybe I'll take your next question.
Yes, I learned from you that you are also a technical person, which is very nice. Even sounds better from a lady, if I may say that. So it is also very nice that we have a guest who is a woman, which is very nice, and I like it. But what are you doing for the company, and who are you actually? If you,
yes,
how would you consider yourself?
Yeah, so I could dare to say I'm actually a part of the company itself, because I'm with Ixia from its very beginnings. I have almost 20 years with the company, 18 years to be precise. And I have started as a director in engineering and growing all of the Ixia products from our R&D office in Bucharest, which today has 500 people working strictly on the development of our products. And Amazing. Today I am driving the business development for Ixia division of Keysight all across Europe and Middle East and some other parts of the world.
Wow, that's really amazing. We should go deeper in this topic, I guess. Maybe not today, but at a point, definitely. And I know that it sounds not so complicated. Yes, visibility, some tabs, packet brokers, but in reality, it gets nowadays very challenging, very demanding, because the bandwidths are growing like hell. So, to put it simply. But let's talk a bit about the connection to NATO. So, I'm afraid you cannot name all the technologies you are providing for NATO, but I presume that you have some of your technologies running within NATO. And is that the reason you were there at the conference, or?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
So, any conference that we go to, it's always a give and take. So we are part of this, security and telecommunication ecosystem. So every time we go somewhere, at least from my perspective, let's say, it's always a give and take. We do have a lot of things to share and a lot of, I would say, great products out there. But we are also learning every day from our peers, from our customers. So every such event where we participate is very enriching, I think, on both sides.
Okay, so it is. So how many events are you participating per year?
I think this is a very good question. So personally, I think in those periods when we have events, I'm probably having at least one event a week that I'm attending. Sometimes 2 events a week, then it's very difficult. But the good news, in a way, for me, it's that there are not events all across the year, right? So there are certain periods in the year where, for example, January, very rarely there are events. Then, February, March, April is slower. May, June, there are more events. So it's not it's not taking all my time. But as much as I can, when there are events and with Keysight as well, we are trying to be part of the most important events in Europe and around for this specific reason that I mentioned, that it truly is a great opportunity, to meet with everyone in the industry and contribute to the progress of everything that's going on in telecommunication these days.
Thank you. Yes, it's challenging. This autumn, I guess it was crazy for us at least, but it's the same every year. So spring and autumn is full with conferences, but these are very valuable. And so what was your expectation towards this conference, and how did it play out? How did it work out at the end?
Yeah, so our expectation was to participate as we did to every conferences where we attended, and to have a chance on one hand to meet with existing customers, so NATO in the first place. So we had a lot of teams that came over and visited us. On the other hand, it was very, very impressive for us to see the amount of people that visited and the very different type of companies and countries where they came from. So I would say from an attendance perspective, I would definitely congratulate the organizers of NATO Edge event, because I think by far it was the best attended conference from my point of view, of course, and this is something subjective, but from this fall.
I fully agree. I was astonished to see, the colorfulness of the audience, definitely, and they were very much interested in the different technologies, partners, much more open than I am used to. Do you share this experience?
Yes, absolutely. Very open, very interested in technology, also very technical people. So I truly enjoyed very deep technical conversations with most of the people that came, or I have been, receiving lots of questions from people that were, not so technical, but they truly wanted to know and understand more. So truly, we were very busy. Very busy. Like we were 4 people at the booth, and we had very many moments when we would have wanted 1 or 2 more people to help us. But yeah, this is how it should be always. So absolutely, very, very good event. Yeah.
Now it sounds like it's a sponsored podcast, but unfortunately it's not. So I need to make some steps towards NCIA too.
Yes.
I doubt that their own is there to be so positive around their own event. So, okay. Let's turn to a bit to the technical perspectives. You are just mentioning everyone was interested. I guess you as well share that as I. So did you find on the event or generally, so what are the top technological trends? Do you find if you can add the cybersecurity flag to it? So
yes,
narrow it down a bit.
This was,
if you can.
Yeah, this was obviously, I think you wanted to drive me in this direction with the answer, because this is truly what's on everybody's lips these days, and it's cybersecurity. And one of the things that, came into very many conversations is this new direction and trend of uniting or, bringing together IT and OT everywhere. And this is on one hand, it is a great business opportunity for everyone to do this, because it's enhancing, faster access to the resources, better ways of, configuring and managing at the distance the different elements from an OT network. But also, it is bringing a huge risk in terms of cybersecurity, because typically the operational networks, the SCADA networks, did not need to have a cybersecurity protection, because in general they were completely isolated from the exterior world, and they were working based on diodes, so one-way traffic. It was a very safe world. And we are now opening the Pandora box by connecting these OT networks to the IT networks. And I would say the biggest challenge that everyone has is that this is happening very fast, and adding cybersecurity to all these networks, it's a big effort, it's a big technological effort, and it's a big financial effort. So I think this topic was on everyone's lips. And it is, I think, something that we will all start to lean towards in the next years.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems like you're talking what we are doing. I mean, my workplace and so forth, because we just had a webinar yesterday around IT/OT fusion security operations centers. So
okay.
But no, with dear audience, we did not talk about that. It's the truth. Yes, this is trendy to say so nowadays, and it's cybersecurity, and it leads then or it drives then the visibility aspects as well, I guess. Correct?
Absolutely, exactly. And in fact, our company has been decided to invest a lot in this area, and we are building, because we have a lot of experience in the visibility area, and because we have so many customers in the IT part already. We are bringing now the knowledge from the IT part into the OT part, and we are building specific ruggedized products for the operational environments. So these are packet brokers and taps which can resist to extreme temperatures, for example, or they can resist to extreme humidity. And of course, we know that everything that is critical infrastructure in many, many, many cases, it's actually hosted outside.
Mm-hmm.
So, we are more and more subject, of course, to all these climate changes and temperatures start to have quite big variety, even in continental Europe, not only in the other continents, let's say.
Okay, yeah, I fully agree. Actually, when we digged down into the OT, which topic I really like because I'm originally a mechanical engineer, so it's close to me. So going back, so I was looking for visibility components specifically designed for shop floors, or as you say, outside devices, external devices, but I did not find many on the market. So you say that there is a development in there. I guess not just in the ruggedized manner, but also maybe in the flexibility, because you might have some smaller segments with limited, not so huge bandwidths, but they need to have some kind of a mirroring, a physical mirroring, to say so.
Yes, absolutely. So we built already. We have both copper, which is probably the most used in the, let's say, external environment and older deployments. And we also have fiber taps.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, because you mentioned bringing the traffic from there, configuring a span, it's always a very high bet that people take. And I don't know if I'm getting too technical. I'm always very passionate, so I could very easily move into.
Let's define for the audience what do we mean, because I know also as well this territory. And when you say tap, would you tell us what do you mean?
Yeah, so a tap is actually a mirror, to be in a very simple term. So a tap, it's a mirror. In the fiber world, a tap, it's actually a wire that is broken a little bit so that it leaves to pass a part of the light to continue to pass on the initial cable, and another part of the light to continue on the, let's say, broken cable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we called it a prism.
Exactly. And so, in fact, this is what it does. A tap does a simple copy of a traffic. So if we want to send a traffic from Brussels to London, and we want to get a copy of it and send it to Paris, we would just place a tap, and this tap would copy 100% of the traffic, and it will not lose anything. And, the Brussels-London traffic will continue to work the same way it did, but there will be also a copy of the traffic that will go to Paris.
Thank you.
And the reason we would use such a tap in the network is because we want, let's say, to send this copied traffic. In this case, I mentioned Paris. We want to send it to different tools that can either analyze the traffic for security, that can either store the traffic for different type of monitoring, or for different type of post-analysis, or for artificial intelligence analysis. Mm-hmm. So these would be the main reasons for which we would want to have a copy of the traffic. And ideally, if we want to know what is happening in our network, we should have a copy of all the traffic that goes through the network. Mm-hmm. Now, historically, there were ways of getting such copies on the traffic on the switch or routers by configuring a port in something which is called span mode, which means a port will not be used for switching or for routing anymore, but it will be used for copying traffic. So basically, there will be a port in the switch that will perform the function of a tap. Mm-hmm. And while this sounds, in a way, easier to deploy because someone can just think, well, I'll just put a switch and I'll configure this. In reality, it's a very big trap, because a switch port will be based on the processor of the switch. And if the switch will be very busy with switching, which is what it's designed for, switching a lot of traffic, it will also start to not pay attention to the copying part, and it will start to drop packets. So it will not copy everything. And then we want to secure something, but we can't see it, all of it. So it's going to be a big risk for the security.
Thank you. I think it was a very accurate and still very understandable definition how to look at these solutions. And if we move a bit into the NATO field, so the defense, and I need to be cautious about time, to be honest. Do you make a difference between an industrial segment, regardless if it's critical infrastructure like an electricity operator, and a defense player? So I assume there are also programmable logic controllers and SCADA or SCADA-like networks, but I also presume that they must be more safe, more secure. So do you make a difference, or do you think that defense is the same, actually?
Well, from our perspective, security is security. And from a visibility perspective, you cannot say that, I have a better or I can just do it with less visibility. It's like you would go into a diving experience, and you would say, if it's a lot of sediment in the water and I can't see anything, it's just as like if the water is crystal clear and I see all the fish. No, it's truly not at all the same experience. And when we talk about security, if we want to secure something, we need to see it all. And I was hearing, so it's not my comparison. Somebody was mentioning it in a electrical conference, but I like the concept very much. He was saying it's like if you want to protect a castle, and then you put soldiers and everything all around the castle everywhere, but you just forget about the back door, right? And you don't protect it there. Well, it's exactly by there where the problem is going to happen. So visibility, it has to be total. There is no way to have partial visibility. And therefore, the products that work on the visibility level, they are of the same from our side. We're building the same products, both for defense and for critical infrastructure, as well as for the IT systems, where, again, there are different challenges, let's say, in each of the area, but the quality of the product that we give is the same.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And coming back to the NATO, potentially because it was a European event, actually. So what do you think? What are the most important aspects of the European collaboration to ensure cybersecurity? Or if you have your own opinion formulated around it, not necessarily, but if you are interested in public, then might be.
What I find very nice in Europe is the fact that there is European Union, which is actually doing an effort to align. And I'm not necessarily talking about NATO right now, but sure. In general, in Europe, we have the European Union that is trying to align the countries. There is the so-called NIS directive, and a couple of weeks ago, it came out, the NIS number 2 directive. So these directives are actually explaining and trying to make a unified approach in what comes cybersecurity, especially for critical infrastructure, but also MOD is included in the critical infrastructure anyways.
Sorry, on a comment on that. We had an episode with Thomas Lang, actually, on NIS 2.
Okay.
So you probably don't need to define it so deeply, and the dear listeners can listen to that episode as well.
Fantastic. Okay, so I won't go into very many details about it, but this is something that I really like about European Union. And then there is, without going into details, but just to formulate my feelings, there are these so-called CERTs, which are in basically each country member of the European Union. And I got to meet a lot of people that work in these certs, and they are very serious people, and this organism, they talk to each other, and there is a lot of collaboration, and this helps a lot.
I like this point. Yes, you are right. And the regulation or the regulatory is strengthening this kind of activities between Europe, and that is one of the main targets, I guess.
Yeah. And it's something that I truly like. So because I think it sets the fundamentals for collaboration, and you always need a platform. If you want to collaborate, you need someone to set the scene, right?
You are right. I really enjoy your thoughts on this, but I'm afraid we are overstretching our time target if we want to go further. But I think I can promise the audience that we are going to have another discussion, and we could go deeper in, if you can reveal some of your innovations you are developing, and a bit go deeper into the OT specific area. Could you accept my invitation here live on during the podcast?
Absolutely. I'm extremely passionate about our products and about what we are building in my company. And I guess the fact that I am with this company for 18 years, it must say it all, because today in this industry, people change very much. So to stick with the same company for so long, I think it says a lot about the enthusiasm and the strong belief that I have in our product. So with a lot of pleasure.
Very soon we are going to talk about that. And to conclude, I enjoyed the conversation with you, Roxana, very much. I think you added a lot of new aspects to the NATO Edge conference itself, and several technological considerations. And your point on European cybersecurity is as well what I like very much. So I'm grateful that you were with us today. I wish you a nice weekend, because it's a Friday when we are talking.
Thank you very much. And I'm waiting forward. We're going skiing for the first time this year. This season. So yeah.
Oh no, can you reveal it? Now you cannot not telling it.
Yes, I'm based in France on the border with Switzerland, and we're going to swim in Switzerland in a resort which is called Glacier 3000.
Then everyone, let's grab a coffee or a tea, and the weekend, at least on our side, is coming. But I enjoyed this conversation with Roxana, and let's be with us in the next episode of CyberPod EU again. And take care and be wise. Thank you.